What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of the POPAHOLICS podcast. I am one of your hosts here, Franklyn McInnis, and of course, I have my co-host here with me, Collecting Plastic.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
So first, let's go ahead and get the elephant in the room out of the way. Yes, it's been forever since we've done one of these, but when we first started this podcast, I don't think we ever tried to set a schedule for ourselves, and everybody knows what's been going on in the world as well. So things have changed a little bit. So, but we are back because I know I've been seeing it in my comments. You've seen it in your comments too, right?
Yeah, I've seen a few people asking about the podcast, and that's mostly on me. It's hard for me to get everything together sometimes, but yeah, here we are.
Yeah, and life just happens, and especially with the way things have been the past year, time just kind of flew by. But yeah, we are back here again, and we definitely have some interesting things we want to touch on because we both have been paying attention to what people have been talking about in the Funko collecting community. I'm saying Funko in general because it's not just Pops, although we know Pops tend to be the main focus. But one of the main questions I've been seeing floating around lately, and maybe it's always been around, but definitely more so lately, I keep seeing people asking, is Funko getting lazy? And I saw this question in the past. I know we saw it with the Chromes when the Chromes started coming out one after the other. There was a lot of that is Funko getting lazy. And can you think of another example from the past?
Yeah, Chromes were a big one. Yeah, I mean, I would say the big one. Honestly, right now, I don't feel they're getting all that lazy. Maybe that's just me though.
I don't either, and I think a lot of people are asking that mainly because of the foodies. At first, some people were upset because they thought they were considered ad icons, which they're not. It really is like a separate line, but I mean, they still represent products we're familiar with. I just look at it as like Funko's version of Shopkins, basically.
I basically I think I even called them that in my worst of video, because I think at the time they had actually advertised them as ad icons. Like it actually said ad icons on their blog on the funko.com. So I did, and I was like, these aren't ad icons, these are products. And I'm not one to I mean, I like some of this stuff, and to me, even the corporate logos are kind of a weird thing to be buying. But straight up cereal boxes or just products like that really aren't my thing. I wouldn't call it lazy though, because they are kind of like new designs. It's not just like recoloring something.
Yeah, and I think so too. I've never really understood the Shopkins things, but it's just things that we're familiar with. We see these things all the time. We grow up with these things too, certain food products and whatnot. So, yeah, like you said, I don't think it's completely lazy. It's not as simple as just putting eyes on something. Although I would say I think in some cases they do need to be more mindful of the designs because there are certain ones that just don't make sense to me. Like one of the main ones that bothers me is the Pringles can because it has that the Pringles can face on it, the white face with the sort of old, I don't even know what you would call that style. It kind of reminds me of like a guy from the 1920s or something, but it has that white face on it, but then it has the eyes below it. It just looks weird. It looks like two faces going on there.
Yeah, that one is kind of strange. I think they could have been a little bit more creative with that one. I think the ones, they're not all bad to me. I think there's a couple that do actually kind of work, like the moon pie. Because it's not just a wrapped up wrapper or a box. You actually see the moon pie, and I think it has a bite out of it. That's kind of cool. I also think that the White Castle burger isn't all that bad. I mean, I personally don't like White Castle, but let's say they would make an In-N-Out version of that one. I would probably buy that.
Yeah, I think the White Castle one is actually kind of clever because you got the box upside down, like the way you would if you were actually eating a White Castle burger, it's like in that style. And like I said, the box being upside down, I think it works, and the cherry Coca-Cola can, which is a Hot Topic exclusive, I went ahead and pre-ordered that one because I was like, okay, that's probably the best foodie one that I've seen thus far. And I do like cherry Coke, so that I was cool with getting that one.
Yeah, I kind of like that one too when I saw it. I didn't pre-order it. But if it were a Diet Coke one, I think I would get it because I like Diet Coke myself. I'm not diabetic or anything. I just like the taste of it. I really don't like really sweet drinks, but I would get a Diet Coke can.
Yeah. And my thing too is whenever people criticize something that's new with Funko, like automatically I think you don't have to buy it. Like, I think you should always basically speak with your wallet. Like if you're not into something, don't buy it. And Funko will definitely move on. They're not going to keep producing something unless it sells. So that's just something to keep in mind. Like even with the going back to the example of the Chrome Pops, some people said they were getting lazy and then they still bought some of them. So yeah, basically if you don't want something to keep being produced by Funko, then just don't support it. Don't buy it.
And also, like, not everything is for hardcore collectors, right? Like some of these food ones, they could just be bought by random people that think they might look cute in their pantry or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
not everything's for hardcore collectors. And I think people that are on YouTube and watch Funko YouTube are maybe a little bit more on the nerdier side and do like things, do like the cooler properties. Where I think some of the food line products are maybe more for casual fans, maybe.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people, because they're so in the know with Funko, they assume that the audience at large, like the collecting audience at large, is in the know, and that's just not the way it is. Like, when people ask, like, why are there so many Baby Yodas? It's because it's not just hardcore collectors buying them. It's going to be those shoppers that are out and about that normally don't even collect, but they might just happen to see one and they go for it. And they want to have variety to appeal to different tastes. So it's not always about the hardcore, like you said, pretty much.
Yeah, and the Baby Yoda is a good example. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that only have one Funko Pop, and it's probably Baby Yoda, or like when the Baby Groot was out. And I think a lot of people might even pick that one up, not even realizing that it's a Funko Pop. They'll just be, oh, look at this cute Baby Yoda, and pick it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing too about having those store exclusives as well. That's when that really comes into play because you want to appeal to people in different locations and whatnot. And yeah, like it really brings more people into collecting, which I feel like collectors should always want that. Just because something is made that you don't like, you don't have to really complain about that. There's a chance that that's going to bring more people into collecting, and you want that. You want more people buying Funko Pops because then that helps the company and they can continue to do more basically, and they can do those niche things as well when they're successful in that way.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
Yeah, and um did you? Well, I mean, let me not just move on without stating this for like. Do you want to say anything else about the foodies? Like I said, me personally, I'm not really gonna go into the foodies much myself. I think I've only ordered two so far, and that was the cherry coke and then the moon pie. And I'm a Southern boy, I guess. When it comes down to it, so moon pie to me is nostalgic. So that's why I went for that one. But I'm not gonna criticize the ones I'm not interested in. I know it'll appeal to some people, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like them myself, and I'm kind of curious to see once they start getting like a wider release, how many of them end up just sitting there on the shelves, or if they're going to be hard to get. It's really hard to tell sometimes.
I want to talk about the latest wave of Master of the Universe pops as well. Now, I didn't see anybody directly say that these were lazy per se, but I did see some people like have kind of negative reactions to them. And I'll be honest, just at a quick glance, I actually thought at first, I'm like, oh, is this a repeat or a wave or like what's going on here? Because there are a couple that really do look like things that have already come out.
Well, I mean, they are like so. The one that baffles me the most is the new Merman.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Like, I didn't think the original Merman was that big of a seller, and I mean, you know me and my conspiracies. I feel like Funko knew the original Merman wasn't going to be a big seller, and that's why they added a chase to it, so people would buy more of it, trying to get a chase. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that, I haven't checked, but I don't think that the original Merman or the chase are even hard to get. You can get them for pretty cheap. So I just don't see where the demand for a new Merman comes from. He does look a little different, and I think these new ones are in the retro toys line. Like if you look at it, the ears look different. So I wonder if this one's based off the toy and the original is based off the cartoon. Either way, to me, kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, I agree, and I know what they're going for with Merman, like giving him sort of the I guess like the fins on his head or whatever you want to say there, but it doesn't translate well, at least from the pictures that they have out right now. Maybe looking at the figure up close is different, but to me, it almost looks like Merman with Mickey Mouse ears in a way.
It does,
It's not
or it
quite
kind of
right.
looks like a green Ewok.
Yeah, it's weird. Like something is just off about it. And then the FYE exclusive, which is the characters' names. I gotta look up the characters' names here, and I'll try to make sure I have this on the screen for you all that are checking out the video. But yeah, that one looked really weird to me until I saw sort of a side view of it. I think it's Eel Man or something like that.
Yeah,
But
so I think that one, I want to say I had the toy of that one. And yeah, like because it is retro toys line, so I'm guessing it's based off the toy. And I want to say that one used to squirt water, so that's kind of why like the mouth looks like that. Is that the one you're
oh,
talking?
that's why it has that design. Okay.
Yeah, so I think that one would squirt. I could be mistaken, but I could have swore that one squirts water, and that's what they're trying to make it look like. That said, it looks really ugly to me. I mean, not that the Masters of the Universe pops are these beautiful looking pops. That's why I do like them because they're so bizarre and so colorful. But that one to me looks pretty ugly.
And his name is actually Leech. Leech is the name. I just looked it up, but yeah, it looks so weird. But then I did when you look at it in box and you get kind of a side view of it looks a little bit better, but yeah, it just looks odd. It looks really odd. But I actually did go ahead and pre-order that one with FYE just because once I got the side view of it, I was like, okay, that looks a little bit better. And I do kind of like that a couple of the villain ones actually have crossbows. That's something that kind of connects them together. So I think they display kind of all right together.
Yeah, like I do like the drag store one, the other one with a crossbow and like that little gas mask on his face. I do like that one. I also like the Horde Trooper that looks like a little knight. And Clamp Champ of the kind of new figures are giving us. Clamp Champ looks really good too. I want to say I had that one as a kid as well. And you
That's
can
one
really
I'm definitely
see.
going for. I'm glad they made him, just because I mean, I'll be straight up, he's black. So like
Yeah, of course.
it's good for variety's sake, for representation's sake. So I think that is pretty cool.
Yeah, so and I like his accessory it came with. Definitely looks like it should be in the retro toy line. The other one that kind of surprised me because I really didn't think her pop was that popular was the new Evil Lynn pop. I
Yeah,
like the colors
that's
though, and it does have even the head mold is different,
mm,
and the way they do her makeup is different, and her pose like it's a completely new mold, and the colors are different enough for I'm gonna get her because I like the character, I like the look of it. Um, so I'm gonna get her, but that one surprised me. Like just like the merman, I'm like, was that really necessary? And I feel they're probably not going to sell that well.
who is the there's a female character that's missing from the Motu line though that they still haven't produced, right? Like she's part of the main cast. Um
Uh Man, it's hard for me to remember the Masters of the Universe names.
somebody will definitely tell us in the comments for sure. But I
Yeah.
feel like her name starts with a T. I just can't
Oh,
remember her name for sure.
she's the one that wears like the snake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
see, that would be cool. Like one of her as a snake, which surprises me because I know other toy lines and other companies.
Tila.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
she's usually one of the first ones they make. So I'm not sure why Funko hasn't made that one. Maybe they're saving her for a con exclusive or something because I feel like if they make her with her snake armor, it would be one of the cooler ones for sure.
Yeah, and yeah, people been waiting, and it's tough sometimes to actually find a female character that people are really clamoring for, and nobody shoot the messenger on that because the sales numbers support that,
How dare you?
but it's just true. Like there's not a lot of female characters that people, in terms of superheroes, that people really clamor for, and I've seen a couple people are like, well, where's Tila? So I think she would do well, especially as a con exclusive.
Yeah, see, I don't get that. Like to me, I always like the female characters. Those are the ones I kind of get the most. Even when I play video games, I make my characters female for some reason. I don't know why. But
But my
you know
thing
what I
is though,
thought was
like
good too?
I'd
Oh, go
rather
ahead.
her not be Toy Tokyo though. Like we say
Oh
con
God,
exclusive, but please don't put her with Toy Tokyo.
no, maybe I
They
just
can be
changed it.
aggravating.
Yeah. But what I've kind of noticed lately with the Toy Tokyo stuff is that it's not holding its value as much as it used to.
No,
Um,
definitely not.
where you can still get them later on if you really, really, really need it. And I would go probably if they made her and it came out really good, I probably would go like, $40 or whatever, which seems to be what some of the newer ones are settling at. But it's Masters of the Universe. It's different. Like, I mean, look at Scareglow now. I remember missing out on Scareglow. I was literally third in line and they only got 2 at Barnes & Noble. I was so bummed that I didn't get it. And I had a chance to get it for 80. I was like, oh, 80 is too much. I'm not going to pay that much. It's 400 now. So
Yeah,
you
and I
never know
actually
with
got that
Masters
in
of the
my
Universe.
collection, and I picked it up on a whim, honestly, because I think my Barnes and Noble only had one, and I just, like I said, picked it up on a whim. I thought this looks pretty cool, and that really kicked it off for me collecting Motu with Funko Pops.
Yeah, I think that's at the time it would have been the first one I get, and because I like skeletons and skulls so much, I was like, dude, and that one glows in the dark. That one looks really cool. Um, but yeah, just definitely was one of the biggest disappointments for me when I was trying to get con exclusives. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Tila. She should
And
be coming. I mean, 2 evil Lins before they make her is kind of surprising.
yeah, and even though there's some, it feels like some repetition in this Motu line. I don't think it's lazy. I think they are still putting some thought into the designs, and there are a couple of things I'm gonna go for with it, like the Snake Man at Arms specialty series figure. I'll go for that one. You know what's funny too? Like I keep saying that Motu is so nostalgic for me, and then when I saw Skeletor, the latest pop ride, him on I think it's Night Stalker, I was like, whoa! Like I had that as a kid, and I totally forgot about it. Um, so that's
Dude,
pretty cool. I'm definitely going for that.
even as a kid, I always thought that figure, like the legs on the horse, were just way too skinny looking. It
Yeah,
just
there is
looked
it's
funny to
definitely
me.
awkward. Yeah.
Maybe
It-
you
it-
can explain to me what is going on with this Snake Mountain thing. Like, I cannot tell what that is.
I don't know why. Like they show it as, I guess it is like twin mountains basically, and but I don't know. It looks weird. Like the pop towns in general look weird to me because, obviously they're not to scale. With the
I mean, is that
figures.
supposed to be a fortress? Or, like, what is that?
Yeah, but it looks really odd though because of how small it is. Next to the figure. And like it's been so long since I watched the series, honestly can't remember exactly how it looked within the series, but yeah, I think it is supposed to be like a fortress.
Because they actually haven't made the actual castle yet, have they? Because that would be cool. Like, if they would make a castle more and put that damn thing inside of, like, the jumbo pop boxes, actually make it big so you can put it behind your Masters of the Universe pops and it actually looks like a castle, would be kind of cool.
Yeah, they haven't done that yet with the pops. They did have those Savage World figures that were inspired by Masters of the Universe, but it was characters from different properties. Like they had the DC characters, and I know they did like a castle for that, but I don't think with Masters of the Universe they've done a straight up castle just yet.
So, do you think that this 10-inch Trapjaw or Lockjaw, whatever his name is,
It's Trapjaw, yeah.
you think that's going to be like a super shell former? Because I think it is.
Possibly, but you know what though? Like in the past day or two on my channel, I've seen a lot of people like kind of hyped about Trapdoor. I was surprised the number of comments I saw people saying that that was their favorite character as a kid. Like for me,
Really?
my favorite villain was Beastman. So I actually liked that I got the 10-inch Beastman, but I did wait for it to go on sale. And
Okay.
Trapjaw might be the same way, you know.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that one. But maybe it has been a long time since I've watched Masters of the Universe though, and to me, what I first think about, like, which Masters of the Universe pop would I like to have a 10-inch of? Definitely not Trapjaw. But
Yeah, I think it might be safe. I'm not going to completely guarantee this, but it might be safe for people to actually just wait and get that on sale, get that one on sale, because I could see that going down in price eventually, especially if GameStop gets multiples of them. Yeah, if for me, I'm not even interested in that 10-inch one because I do have the Trap Jaw, and I got an exclusive variant of him as well. There's at least two that have already been produced before, but yeah, I would just wait that one out, to be honest.
yeah, I kind of snoozed on the specialty series Trapjaw. I think he's up to like 30 now. Not too bad. Might still add him though.
You know what? There might be three of them. I can't remember for sure because I feel like there's a FYE exclusive as well of him.
I think so. I think you're
Yeah.
right about that.
Yeah, but yeah, with the tennis, like I said, I would wait that one out a little bit. Like I'm really happy now that I got Beastman, but the main reason I'm happy about it is because I ended up getting it for like $10. Like I
Huh.
waited until GameStop had a ridiculous sale on it.
Oh, and they had the flocked one too, right?
Uh, I can't remember for sure. I feel like they did. I know they had that flocked He-Man, which was kind of weird. But
Yeah,
yeah,
'cause
I think
they
you're right.
made
There
it
was might
flocked
have been a flocked Beastman.
non-exclusive. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, there was a flocked Beastman and a flocked Mossman as well, because I have those two side by side, I think.
All right.
Yeah. I want to talk about this gold line as well because to me it's kind of, I don't know if you could really call a company lazy when they're still trying new things and they're putting out new products. So again, we pretty much agree on that already, that we don't think Funko is being lazy, and I like to see that they are trying new things. I want to actually go ahead and throw this to you first. Who do you feel is like the audience for the gold line based off of what we've seen so far?
Honestly, I don't like the gold line at all. Um, and I think it's because all the bodies are the same, which kind of is lazy to me. They're all the same exact body on all of them. And as far as who these might be for, I mean, I could see these like maybe in those sports stores that sell jerseys and memorabilia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think current pop collectors are gonna go out of the way, go crazy to get these, unless it's somebody they really, really like. Like for me, if they made, I don't know, some classic soccer players, I might like them. Um, but not how they look. I don't like the look of them. And to me, they do look kind of crazy, and they look like a cross between an action figure, I guess, and then like the eyes on the sodas, like the face looks a little bit like the sodas. To me, one of the problems I think with Funko's new lines like this are that they they compete too much with the pops. I think it's like, okay, you got a pop, you got a collectible already, and these new lines aren't different enough for me to want to start collecting them. I do like that they're actual. Maybe not all of these. I'm not sure if all these sports stars have pops already, but I think if they were to make a new line like this, they should make characters or people that don't already have pops, if that makes sense.
I see things differently. I think that this is really meant for to try to bring in other types of collectors, because I think, for some people, Funko Pops are maybe too cutesy. Some people still get weirded out that they don't have mouths, most of them, so I think this is really trying to bring in another audience. And just like you said with the athletes, yeah, the bodies are the same, but people, I think they're looking at people that are going to go into like those sports stores, like in my area they have a chain of stores called Man Cave. I don't know if that's like a national chain or not, but I mean it's basically like, what the title says, Man Cave is things that you would want to put in your man cave basically. So somebody's going to go in and they're going to get, athletes from their favorite team. So it's not like they're going to have a bunch of players from different teams side by side, that have the same bodies. They're just going to have those players that they're a big fan of from their particular teams. And I think that's that who Funko was trying to draw in with those sports fans that do spend a lot of money on memorabilia and collectibles and things like that. Like, I mean, that's where a lot of the money comes from with professional sports, all the things that all the merchandise that people buy. So I think that's what Funko is really going for. I don't think they're looking so much at pop collectors. I think they're looking at, sports fans basically. And then the bodies are the same with the athletes, which I hope they would change that up with certain players. But also they'd have revealed that well, I don't know if they officially revealed it, but the image is floating around of Notorious B.I.G., who of course, his mold is true to him. And I think he looks pretty cool in the white suit. I'm definitely going to get the Notorious B.I.G. And I think there's the rumor floating around that there's going to be more music artists as well. And I think that their molds and their bodies are going to be true to who they are. So again, that's going at the music artist fans more so than worrying about pop collectors per se. So that's where I see the goal line being. I think they're trying to bring in other people from other fandoms. They're not worrying so much about people that are collecting pops already. I think this is really a chance to try to expand the same way that those Snapsies figures. I don't think they were really worrying whether or not. I don't think they care whether or not pop collectors go for those. They're trying to get kids, to be engaged, and they did that with some other products, especially the like exclusive at Targets, like with Hero World, which that didn't last very long. But now they do have the what is like the Battle World game or whatever. They got other stuff. They're trying to draw in a lot of different types of collectors, basically.
Yeah, you definitely have to try stuff. But yeah, to me though, like honestly, if I were to gamble on this, I would tell you that I don't think this line is going to last very long. And
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Steph Curry, he looks bigger than LeBron James, and to me, it doesn't make sense. And I mean, I understand the uniformity of everything, but to me, these poses for these basketball players are just way too boring. And I know that if they start getting into like 2 or 3 poses, it looks generic too. If they just, pick a pose depending on their position. But to me, like, I feel
Well, it's a cost saving measure for sure.
Yeah, like I just don't see sports fans liking them that much. I don't think they're gonna be around for too long.
Well, it's the bodies is definitely a cost saving measure. It's the same thing with Pops though. If you go back to like the original Pops, they all basically had the same body for the most part. Arms down at the side, kind of boring. But as Pops became successful, then they were able to do more dynamic things with them. So like if this line were to take off, then I think we would see more variety with it. But yeah, I'm like you. I don't think it's going to last long enough for that to happen.
And I think the difference between the original Pops and these, and the original Pops being very, very uniform, is that they weren't 100% uniform, right? And they weren't 100% just repainted differently. Like I think what the original Pops were kind of interesting was because they had the original molds as like a blank canvas where they would add things to it. Where these ones are basically just all repainted. They're all repainted. They have the same length socks, same length shorts. I think the personality of the players taken away a little bit with that. And also, what I find kind of weird about these Funko Gold athletes is that they look like action figures, but they're not articulated. So to me, it's kind of like, okay, so are you trying to go for the action figure market a little bit or the collectibles market? Because collectibles, yeah, they don't have to move. It's like a vinyl art toy doesn't have to move. But when you look at these, they look like they should be articulated just because of the way they're shaped, if that makes sense.
Well, I could see some sports fans getting like maybe just one of these, and just sitting in the man cave and probably forgetting about it, honestly. But I really want to see what they're going to do with other ones in this line because kind of sit the athletes aside for a moment. Like I said, Notorious B.I.G. It seems like they put more thought into his mold, and I think it fits. So I really want to see what they're going to do with other music artists. If they take time and make each music artist, true to themselves in terms of the mold, then maybe certain characters will work with this line, and certain, I guess I should say celebrities, since they're going with real people, at least so far. Maybe certain celebrities will work with this. The athletes, maybe not so much. Because honestly, even when you look at Funko Pops and you look at the athletes, a lot of them have the same poses and the same basic molds and everything. But I mean, they sell sometimes. I guess some do well. I don't know about value wise necessarily, but people do get athletes from their favorite team. So,
well, you know what they should have done? Because I think it's one of the reasons that the sodas are so popular because, yeah, the sodas have a nice design. The soda can concept is nice, all that. But, of course, each one has a chase.
exactly.
What they should have done with these is maybe have chase away and home jerseys. Maybe like their common is the home jersey and then the chase is the away jersey, or maybe a different hairstyle, or maybe for the football ones, the chase has a helmet. Or for the basketball ones, the chase has a basketball, and something like that.
You never know. They might. We actually don't know at this point. Maybe they do have something like that planned because they haven't done a full official reveal yet. Like when they first revealed the sodas, we didn't know about a chase for each one like right away. So, who knows? Maybe they will have something like that going on with this line. Chases make a big difference. Like, I actually spoke to a company, and I won't call them out, in this podcast, but. I did speak to one company that like asked me my thoughts on like their upcoming figures, and I told them what they were doing was cool, but I was like, I I was like, you need chases, honestly. Like, it makes such a big difference with collectors. Chases matter,
It
because
really does.
yeah,
And it just makes you buy more. I
yeah,
mean, plus it makes having the same character twice kind of cool, right? Like you
yeah,
have the home and away, or the one with the different hairstyle or haircut or whatever.
yeah, and there's potential with athletes because yeah, you like you said, home and away is a potential thing, but also, as long as they are okay with it in terms of the licensing, you could represent the different eras for that athlete as well, like they've been doing with the Michael Jordan pops. Things like that are pretty cool as well. So there's things they definitely could do.
Do the Jordan Pops have accurate sneakers?
That's something I haven't paid attention to be
Because it
honest.
looks like some of these, it does look like they have accurate sneakers. Like the paint jobs on the sneakers, it looks like they're not all generic, which I think is kind of
There's definitely
cool.
variety to them. Yeah, I see what you're saying. There's definitely variety going on. So maybe it is true to a certain pair that they've worn before. I know that gets dicey though with in terms of licensing.
Yeah, it really does. That's why, man, I wish I would have looked at my Jordan Pops beforehand. Because I can't remember if his sneakers are just white or black, or if they're accurate or not. But it looks like, especially like the James Harden ones, I want to say I've seen those actual real shoes before. And if they're not a 100% accurate, they're close enough to know that, okay, that's that pair of shoes.
yeah,
And I think
because
chases for the shoes, especially if you want to get some crossover into like the sneaker community, I think if they put out chases with like some super popular shoes that the athlete wore at one point, would be kind of a cool idea too.
yeah, absolutely. That is actually a good point. I'm looking at some of the Jordan pops right now, and his sneakers they definitely are different. I think some of these are true to pairs that he's worn before. Because at a certain point in his career, of course, he wasn't just like with Nike anymore. He had his Air Jordan. He had his own line going on.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's able to sign off on that himself. I would imagine for them
Oh
to
yeah,
do
these
that with the
sneakers are
pops.
accurate. Yeah, they're definitely accurate.
Yeah.
I see some of his more famous ones, especially like on the actual Chicago Bulls uniform ones.
Yeah, you're right though. That is something that Funko should maybe try to highlight. Because that probably would matter to some people. Yeah. But yeah, I'm interested to see when Funko does the official reveal on the goal line, and we get to see more. And like, I mean, right now we're mainly looking at the athletes, and we got Biggie, and that's it. So I'm really ready to see more to get a better feel for what this line is going to be like. So I'll keep an open mind, but we do know a lot of things have come and gone with Funko.
All right, so this sneaker talk kind of is a perfect segue into a question from Muppet Spot, one of my subscribers, and he asked, "What is your fear for Funko Pops in the future?" His fear is reliance on foodies way too much, but it kind of reminds me of what would be my big fear for Funko in the future. And because I don't think Funko's going anywhere, I think Funko is more popular than ever.
Hmm.
And I feel like it's got room to grow even more because it's starting to get into the culture where not just nerds like them, and almost everybody now doesn't really scoff at it or doesn't really go, "Oh, what the hell is that?" Right? Almost everybody knows what Funko is now.
Hmm.
But my fear is it getting so popular to the point where getting almost anything new is going to be really hard. Like where kind of like how the sneakers are, like the whole the sneakerheads, and how buying any kind of new sneakers that are popular is almost impossible, and all the scalpers just buy them up. And you know that would be my fear, where everything gets just so hard and annoying to get that it turns off any kind of new person that wants to get into Funko Pops. Just having it be too confusing, too hard, having them feel like, well, I kind of have to like not have a job and like sit at my computer 24/7 to even try to get this stupid little $15 toy. That would be my fear.
Yeah, I've noticed that people are ravenous now. Like, I mean, things go so fast on Funko.com, especially. So, but it's like it's a double-edged sword. It's like you want more people to come into the hobby because that supports the company and keeps things going. But yeah, at the same time, it's getting challenging to get some things, even things that you wouldn't think would be challenging, like even some store exclusives going in a heartbeat, and
Even some commons, man, like Selena. Selena's just
yeah,
a common pop.
yeah, if something's popular enough, yeah, it's gonna be difficult. And there's been some figures where like I'm waiting around for it to come on in the stores, and I'm like, well, I guess that was it already. Like, cause it released online, it had maybe a few that showed up in stores, and then it's like on to the next thing basically. So yeah, I don't know, like it's yeah, again, double-edged sword. It's like, yeah, we want more people in the hobby because that keeps it strong, but yeah, it is getting tougher to get some things sometimes.
Yeah, and if Funko goes a route of, oh, we'll just make more, but then you start getting into a bubble like the comic books in the 90s going like, well, there's such a big demand. Well, let's just make a billion of them. You can't
You,
do that either.
you know what? Doesn't this lead into you have another question that kind of addresses this, right? About like reproductions basically,
Let me see here.
because I know that's a concern
Yeah,
that some people have. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
so Jeremy asks, what is up with Funko re-releasing old exclusives to Hot Topic and other places? There's also a rumor they're going to re-release some of the Batman the Animated Series pops.
Okay, I definitely want to address this. I feel like I've addressed this previously. Um, for people that are new to the hobby, of course, there's characters and celebrities that they want pops of too, and maybe they missed them when they originally came out. So I think for Funko, of course, that's money. That's money sitting there. So they're going to do reproductions and they're going to make that money. Basically, it's. I know this is tough for people to accept, but it is not Funko's job to protect the value of your collection. Their job is just to make money. Like, so with they're gonna try to do things to satisfy new collectors basically. I mean, Funko, I think they do some things, of course, with the chases, whatnot, and the small numbers of exclusives, especially for cons. They will do things that to draw people in because they want that value figure, that high value figure. But in the long run, it's not their job to protect the value of your collection. They got to keep making money.
They want to be inclusive with the exclusives.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I know why some people get upset about it, because it starts to feel like almost like very little of the figures are actually special. You know what I'm saying? Like once you see something getting reproduced again and again, it's like, well, come on, like especially if it has limited on it. Like, it's not really limited if it's getting produced again and again. We see that sometimes with con exclusives that suddenly come back, and yeah, that's good for new collectors. And I can understand some people being upset because yeah, then it doesn't feel as special and it does lower the value. But like I said, I think it's a harsh reality that is the Funko's not worrying about that. They're just going to keep making money.
I mean, but you got to remember too, like, and I know you understand, but I think people need to realize that exclusive doesn't mean limited. And I've been saying this for years, that I feel there's some exclusives that are way more produced than there's some commons, right? And there's a reason that some of the commons go up in value so much compared to the exclusives. Exclusives just means you can just buy it at Hot Topic. It doesn't mean you can just buy it at Hot Topic for 1 month only, and then you're gonna have this pop that's gonna go up to 50 to 80 bucks, and it's just gonna be that way forever. It's like exclusive just means that Hot Topic has it, for example, and Target doesn't. So you have to go to Hot Topic to get it. If Hot Topic sees that they're selling out really fast, well, they can just call up Funko and go, oh yeah, we need another 20,000 of those. I mean, that's all it really means. Just because it has a sticker on it doesn't mean there's less of them or that they're harder to get or anything like that.
Yeah, and even limited sometimes is not exactly what you think it is, because I mean, they could call something limited, but there's like 10,000 of them. Is it really special then? Like when there's that many out there. And then of course, like we kind of just learned recently that there's different numbers. Like with the sodas, there's different numbers for what's available in the U.S. and what's available internationally. So they might say like 10,000 available in the in the U.S. That's just for the U.S. though. And then there's a different number for what's available internationally. So they're not adding those numbers together. They're separate numbers. So you can't even trust the numbers all the time necessarily. You don't know if it's worldwide or if it's just for the U.S. basically.
Yeah, that I do like how I think they have a little bit different graphics on the non-US cans. I do like that they differentiate them at least.
Yeah. Yeah, but me overall, I try not to stress that. I see things whenever I see something reproduced, I just think, okay, that's it's going to be available for newer collectors. I'm okay with it, honestly. I'm okay with it because honestly, I have so many pops that if I ever wanted to like unload some, I'm still going to get some money out of them, but yeah, I just don't stress over that long-term value quite as much as some people do. But I'm not going to criticize anybody for get feeling a little miffed because they see the value going down because things are getting reproduced.
What do you think of these new Bad Batch Funko Pops?
Now, again, one of the topics we're focusing on is Funko lazy or not? Overall, I still feel like the company is putting out a lot of effort. I really do. There's two particular figures, and I don't know the characters well enough. I mean, you could look at the pops and maybe tell me more about them. There's two Amazon exclusives that barely look different from their common variants. Like you really have to look closely to see the difference in the details there. I guess the main difference with the Amazon exclusives is that they come with pins. But as far as the actual figures, yeah, they didn't really do much different with them.
Oh yeah, I didn't think the figures were different. I thought the only reason the Amazon exclusives were exclusives was that they came with a pin. I didn't realize the figures were different. If they
Yeah,
are, I didn't notice.
it's just like slight little details that are different on their paint job. It's barely noticeable. So
Is
I
it
don't
what is
I
it,
don't
like
know how
weathering or
people feel
something?
about that. Sorry, say that again.
Is it like weathering or something? I'm looking it up now.
I'm not even sure what I would say about it. It's just like different markings on there. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be battle damage or what. But like I said, I didn't even realize it at first until I saw some people pointing it out on social media, and I was like, oh, okay, well, there are differences.
Well, I see one of them like Wrecker. Looks like one of them has a gun, one of them doesn't. So I guess there is like little differences. But I actually like the look of the pops. I like the paint jobs on them. This kind of granite looking paint job, I think looks really nice.
Yeah, I think they look cool. I wonder if there's plans to do them with their helmets off, though.
I'm pretty sure there is. I'm
Yeah, it
pretty
seems like
sure
they
there's
would have to, right? Yeah.
yeah, especially if the series takes off. I totally expect a different action pose and one without helmets for sure.
Yeah, because there's just I only watched like the first couple of minutes of the first episode just to kind of get a feel for it, and there's so much more personality when the helmets are off.
Yeah, although, something that I thought was kind of funny because I watched both episodes, I really liked it. I like how it calls back to Order 66 and all that. I think it's really cool. And it's a little bit, it's not 100% for adults. It kind of reminds me of Rebels, but maybe a little bit more mature than Rebels, which I kind of like. And I thought the action was good and some really cool scenes and dialogue. But what I thought was really funny and pretty lazy was the name of all the characters. Like the sniper is called Crosshair, and then the nerdy one that knows technology is called Tech, and then the leader is called Hunter, and then the big tough guy is called Wrecker. I mean, the only thing they needed was to call one of them Gunner or something like that. I
I
thought that was
almost
really
feel like yeah, I almost feel like they did that intentionally, like because even with the little bit of exposure I've had to the series, it kind of feels like it's meant to be like these are side characters that we normally would not pay any attention to, but now they're front and center.
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know if they thought about it that hard, but maybe. Yeah, I guess that's kind of a good point.
And I
Um,
think too when you have characters that are so similar in some ways, especially with their helmets on. I don't know, maybe it's better to keep it to simple names, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how long this series goes and how much more we learn about them and everything. I almost feel like if this is a massive hit, which it probably will be, and they want to keep it going long term, they're probably going to regret though having those really simple names in the long run. But maybe we'll learn some other names that they go by more so.
yeah, they're actual real names. I mean, the
Yeah.
the one I think was clever was Echo, because I think he's supposed to be a dead clone trooper that they kind of reanimated and made into a cyborg. So I think Echo is kind of clever. But the other ones, especially Tech, I was like, come on, really? You're gonna call him Tech because he does
Yeah.
technology? I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's pretty silly. But yeah, even in just watching and I'm not gonna spoil anything. I mean, you already mentioned it. Basically, we know Order 66 is involved, and even though I'm not big into Star Wars, when I heard that, I got chills though when that came across. You know, I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, and they incorporated it pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, so I probably will watch it some more. And yeah, I guess if anybody's wondering, if anybody's like me and didn't really follow the Clone Wars and all that, it seems like Bad Batch, like they're doing enough to where you understand what's going on and you can jump into it. All right, you all. We definitely appreciate it, you know, especially if you hung out with us the whole time here. Looking forward to your feedback about the things that we address. And our main question, do you feel that Funko is getting lazy? We want to hear your opinions. You know, you don't have to agree with us. We want to hear what your opinions are. And anything that you want us to answer, you know, put it down in the comments. You know, please don't ask us how many pops we have or what is our favorite pop today. You know, give us something a little bit different to focus on there. And we'll get back to you all with that. And yeah, thank you all for checking out this episode.